evening and thanks for joining us. Thrill seekers and people who just can't get enough carnival food and entertainment had the opportunity to enjoy the annual CLE for the past couple of days. The yearly event draws in huge numbers and this year tops out as one of the biggest attendance records to date. Courtney Rutherford wraps up what's been a fun few days for everyone who attended.
If you've driven down Memorial Avenue in the past couple of days, there's a chance you've heard something like this. It's the final day of the annual CLE and close to 70,000 people have walked through the gate. The fair has been around for 123 years and the success of the event always comes down to one thing.
It's tradition. Grandma and Grandpa brought their children here. Their children are now bringing their children. And I think summer without the fair is not summer.
With various kinds of entertainment, rides for all ages, and various types of food, such as corn dogs and freshly squeezed lemonade, there's just about something for everyone.
Just hang out, have some fun, family fun, entertainment, spend lots of money with the kids.
Well, we've already done the Tilt-A-Whirl. I'm hoping that we'll do that one over there. I'm not sure what it's called. And we're going to do the Ferris wheel fairly soon. So
I love it. Every year I'm going to come. Best part about it, if you're going to do it, is do the Ring of Fire. Do the Ring of Fire.
But there isn't just thrill rides to test your level of bravery. There's also a number of games to test your skill level, like the classic dart game. With a number of prizes to be won from small to large, there wasn't a shortage of games to try to win one. Prize or no prize, those we spoke with have enjoyed every minute.
I went on, I like the Ferris wheel.
Why the Ferris wheel?
It's fun. It's really fun.
How come?
Because all the rides are scary, playing games all around here. The Zipper, Skymaster, Starship 2000, Rock and Roll, Ring of Fire, and the Yo-Yo.
So you're pretty brave then.
I think it's important so we can all get together and all go on all the rides together.
The youth stage has provided 21 small bands the opportunity to come play in front of a number of people throughout the past couple of days. To cap off the entire event, Harlequin was the final act to grace the main stage. The doors close until next year around midnight. Courtney Rutherford, TBT News.
A man has died following a canoeing incident on the North Shore. Marathon OPP says 73-year-old Erhard Fenzel from Kingston, Ontario, drowned while canoeing on Lake Superior near the mouth of the White River yesterday. Police say a canoe carrying two paddlers capsized around 1 in the afternoon. One man made it to shore, but the other was swept away in the current. The male who reached the shore activated a spot responder, which alerted the Joint Rescue Coordination Center. A search and rescue aircraft was dispatched and the man was found in the water 500 meters from the shore. Emergency officials performed CPR, but the man was pronounced dead at the scene. Police don't suspect any foul play in the incident. Ontario has committed to cover the cost of running the experimental lakes area, but the province has yet to reach any kind of agreement with the federal government. The feds cut funding to the 40-year-old facility. It was allowed to be reopened for a limited time while an agreement was worked out. Scientists from all over the world pay to use the station, and according to the Council of Canadians, the operating costs are between $200,000 to $400,000 a year. Kenora MP Greg Rickford, who's recently been named the Minister of Science, says he's remained hopeful all along that the process has remained positive.
I believe that there's a better organization out there in a position, given its academic connections, its global characteristics, to continue on with that research. Over the past 8 or 9 months, we've been working closely with that organization, bound by a confidentiality agreement, but supporting it with business plan development, and various strategic things that the IISD felt were necessary in order for them to transfer.
Rickford says it now rests in the province's hands. He feels comfortable and confident the government will live up to the fact that they're the holders of the land, that the research is taking place, and that there will be a smooth transition moving forward. A new bylaw may be in the works for Thunder Bay. Some say it's long overdue. Right now, there's no limit on the number of cats or dogs anyone can have in their home or apartment. That's led to some troublesome cases of animal hoarding in the city. Many communities already have bylaws in place, and there's a wide range in the number of pets people are allowed to have. Some places let pet owners keep as many as 6 animals. Other communities limit to 4. Councillor Aldo Roberto thinks it's time for Thunder Bay to have its own bylaw. He says research is already underway.
They've looked at other cities, they see what they're doing, what their best practices are, and we're going to adapt those best practices. We're not here to reinvent the wheel and make up new ones. We're just going to adopt what other cities are doing, and from what we're hearing from the other cities, it's turned out to be a very, very positive tool in the toolbox to assist people in sort of taking care of individuals who don't take care of their pets.
Pets aren't the only bylaw up for discussion at tomorrow night's meeting. Representatives from the Thunder Bay Regional Hospital will also be on hand. They've been trying to get people to stop smoking on hospital property, but it hasn't worked. They'll ask Council to amend its municipal smoke-free bylaw to include the grounds of the hospital. Thunder Bay set more than one weather record in the month of July. Not only was this the wettest July in 15 years, it was also one of the coldest. For our question of the day, we wanted to know if residents thought the trend would continue throughout August.
It's too bad for the people that love gardening because it's been really hard on their flowers. It's a good year for shrubs. Hopefully it warms up in August and we'll get some kind of a summer, and I'm also hoping for a late fall, and I believe it's going to turn around.
I'm looking forward to some warmth before we get back into 8 months of winter or 9 months of winter.
Well, I really hope it doesn't continue into August. I'm visiting from out of town, and this is just unlike any weather that I've ever experienced here. I didn't bring enough warm clothing.
Hope not. I think July's been a lousy month with a lot of rain, and I'm going on a trip shortly, and it'd certainly be nice if I'm not going to be driving into rainstorms, etc., heading west. And all the rain and everything seems to be coming from the west, from my observation.
We need some summer. I hope the weather gets nice, and hope we have a beautiful August and September.
No, it's not going to continue in August. September and August is going to be nice, and a little bit of October. That's why I'm going hunting and I'm going fishing.
Well, there's a backlog of court cases in the Rainy River District. It all comes down to one reason. There's no resident judge to sit in on the proceedings. And after losing their judge this past year, the district has been forced to bring in judges on a rotating basis. Jordan Milani has more.
The statistics may not be there to support it, but the lack of an area judge in the Rainy River District is taking its toll. Legal delays and roadblocks are often the result of scheduling issues when dealing with a traveling justice, and it's now become a problem for a local women's shelter who are finally coming out of hiding to tell their story. The boulevard in front of the shelter, deemed the Women's Shelter of Hope, is lined with trees dedicated to victims of abuse that weren't able to find help in time and eventually lost their lives in tragedy. Donna Crookmo is the executive director of the shelter that takes in women who are experiencing abuse or who simply fear for their own lives and the lives of their children. They offer a 10-bed shelter as well as 10 apartment units for transitional living to help get these women out on their own, but without a sitting judge in the district, their stay at the shelter is often prolonged and nerve-wracking.
It absolutely increases their anxiety and their trauma. They're suffering trauma because they're told by the schools, they're told by us that they should access interim custody. So they've got that pressure because then they're waiting for up to 3 months for a court date. We have a woman currently in our shelter who's been with us for 6 months trying to work out those details for interim custody of her child.
Atikokan Mayor Dennis Brown says the Rainy River District is likely the only region in Ontario without their own sitting judge, and that is based purely on the amount of work that is available.
If we had a full-time job, full-time judge for the Rainy River District, they would only be working 40% of the time in the Rainy River District. The other 60% of the time they would have to travel outside to Kenora districts or the Thunder Bay districts or somewhere else. So the work isn't there. So I can understand it from a statistical point of view. Maybe it doesn't, add up.
Crookmo says their ability to get restraining orders and peace bonds are also hamstrung by the lack of an area judge. Even getting a legal aid lawyer or someone with a background in family law can be a struggle due to the difficulties with scheduling.
That puts a woman at a disadvantage, and usually if he controls the finances or he works, he can get a family law lawyer right away because he's, paying the regular rate as opposed to having to access legal aid. But that's one huge issue we're having, and we think a lot of the lawyers are reluctant to practice where there's no judge because you are hampered by waiting for a court date.
Crookmo adds that the shelter was forced to incur nearly $7,000 in 2012 for travel costs, bringing women to and from court hearings with a budget that doesn't fluctuate. She says the implementation of a justice travel grant could help ease the burden, but so would a full-time judge. Jordan Milani, TBT News.
Local food and live music kicked off a month-long plan to bring people together and make use of a space that's often pretty empty. This past week marked the launch of City Hall Sounds. Every Thursday for the rest of the month, there will be local music to listen to, food to eat, and produce to buy. The weekly event is an initiative of the Crime Prevention Council. Evergreen's Linda Bruins is on the committee and feels the well-used public space helps build safe communities.
The work that Evergreen does really reduces crime. It's when you have a group of people together, you're not afraid to be here. I don't think there's any concern about crime or any activities. So a lot of things that seem very simplistic are actually crime-reducing strategies that have been proven and documented.
The Crime Prevention Council borrowed the idea from Kitchener, where similar events are held. City Hall Sounds will take place every Thursday this month from noon until 1 p.m.